Hi, I'm Joni with Looking at Careers with Joni, and I'm here today with Jean, who has had multiple careers in her life and taken over different family businesses. And I wanted her to talk to us about what these jobs were, what these businesses were, and what kind of skills that you need to move into these kinds of businesses. So Jean, let's start with when you went to college, what did you think you were going to do with your life?
I thought I was going to be a high school teacher. I majored in secondary education and history at the time, social sciences with emphasis in history, and was toying with the idea of graduate school. Once I was done with the college experience, I found out I really didn't want to be in the classroom. Once I was in the high school setting, I thought, I really don't want to do this. So at that point, I had gone to school in a mountain community and had been frozen for 4 years. So I packed up everything I had and went to Southern California just to see if I could do it. And found an apartment, and at the time used a personnel agency. I don't know if they still have those anymore. And found a job at a manufacturer and was hired in the purchasing and inventory control. So I just stumbled into that. I think one of the things that helped was I'm an extremely fast typist. So at that time, that helped with orders and communication with vendors, that type of thing. So that did help. I stayed out there for 2 years and decided to come back to Colorado. At that point, I wanted to be in the hustle bustle of downtown Denver. So I noticed there was an opening at one of the larger banks. So I just applied as a receptionist, and within the year had applied for the officer training program and was in. So eventually I became an executive lender and did that for quite a few years.
Wait, do all banks have that kind of training?
The bank did at that time. And it was interesting because you had to go through teller school. You went through commercial work, so debt, so that you can see what clients do on both sides. You worked in the operations, so you knew the people that were preparing all the paperwork for you before the era of computers that you could do everything at your desk.
Sure.
So you had to work in each department, so you had a real appreciation for the whole process and appreciation for your coworkers. So very interesting. So kind of went up through the ranks there. My husband did get married in there. My husband's job took us to Florida then. We were there for a while. And again, I just went to an agency, and I did find out I was pregnant at the time. So I just took temporary jobs through an agency, and actually with my financial background, ended up working for the commercial division of waste management of Tampa. And so did that while I lived in Florida. We came back to Colorado to purchase a business, and I went back into banking. And so did that for a few years. As progress happened, branch banking came into Colorado, and my job was eventually moved to Minneapolis. And they did not have a comparable job. I was a regional trainer at that point and auditor. And so they didn't have a comparable position, so we parted ways. I took a few years off with a toddler and a newborn. And then once they were a school age, I actually went to the elementary school and became a para, which with my education background, they welcomed me with open arms. And so I worked with the low literacy 6th graders and some only 3rd graders. So I love that that 6th through 8th age. Some people don't, but I love it just because you can see who they could be if they stay on track. And then another day, they act like a 1st grader. So you never know what you're going to get. So I thought that. So I did that for about 6 or 7 years. And then my mother became stricken with Parkinson's, and my dad needed more help. So, and as my kids were older, I left the school system and really 2 or 3 days a week took care of her, and then would make sure I'm home in the afternoons, even for sports and all the things that go with
the real job.
So it was a few years of that until she had to be put into a facility because her needs were greater than what I could provide for her. During that time then too, as my daughter was in college, my son was a senior in high school, then my husband was diagnosed with cancer. So that changed things for about a year or so, as very strict treatments were happening. Once my son graduated high school, then a friend of my sister's was opening up a medical office here. It was a large group of doctors at a hospital very near me, and asked if I would help open that office. So with the kids at college and my husband doing well, I went ahead and did that, learned EMR, the electronic medical records. I had never done that before, but was willing to learn it. And so I did that for a few years.
And you learned just on the job?
They trained me because they knew.
Okay.
I think through all of these organizational skills.
Right. Yeah.
Huge. And adaptability. And so I did that for a few years. Then my husband's treatments were getting quite strenuous. Then again, that took, I'll just be blunt, I mean, stem cell transplant, things like that, where you had to be at the hospital daily and that type. So I did resign from the medical world into the medical world of my family. And so during that time too, then my dad was starting to show some signs of dementia. So we had that in there too. So my husband did pass in 2018. And at that point we owned a trade school. And so I stepped in to run that, and I just sold it in June. So
what goes into running a trade school?
Well, we had owned it for 31 years. So really It's been part of my life. Just like any, you have to deal with the political arena, but then you also deal with Department of Ed. And then there's various auditing agencies under them that you have to, I could give you all the acronyms and it's overwhelming. You deal with state and county. It's overwhelming, the regulations that go on. So, and it was challenging with getting my feet wet in that too. And then all of a sudden COVID hit. And so then working on like the payroll protection and making sure that I could retain all of my employees, and working with student loans in the VA so that the students didn't lose their funding during that 12 weeks we had to be closed. And so I learned more than I cared to, but we survived. It was good. And like I said, I did sell the business in June. And so
wait, go back to this business again. So what kinds of things were taught in this trade school? What do people learn?
It's gunsmithing. And it has been gunsmithing, repair in Colorado with hunting, and that it's a big deal. We also do law enforcement repair. The thing for people too that do it for sport, skeet, trap, that type of thing. The school has actually been open since 1947, and we were only the second owners of it. So we purchased it from a family, then we had it for 31 years, and now I have sold it to a family.
And did you have to know how to repair guns to do that?
No.
Okay, you had employees that did all of that.
Absolutely, yes. Oh no, we have licensed or certified gunsmith, yes, and very experienced people. So, oh no, I didn't. No.
I thought you were sitting there doing all the intricate things.
Call me Annie Oakley, but no, I didn't.
Yeah.
The corporate side of it all. So,
but
it was interesting. I met the nicest people and just have had such good support all along the way. But it truly is all about adaptability because of life circumstances.
Sure.
I had to keep evolving.
Yeah. And that's great. Not so many people are that adaptable because they're afraid to make changes.
Sometimes it's forced upon you.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do? So you're just going to roll with the punches.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know how to do that. And that's kind of my feeling about doing these videos, because people are afraid to go to the next step. So they step backwards rather than forwards.
Missed opportunities. That's sad.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. So, and what are you doing now? Just retired?
In in the last 6 months, let's see, I had a major house repair going on. I became a grandmother. My father did pass away. So I did some traveling this fall. So I'm just kind of catching my breath from.
Okay. And reaping a lot of the rewards from lots of years of hard work.
Yes. But I can tell boredom's starting to set in a bit. So who knows what's going to happen next?
That's the key. Yeah, I'm interested in how banking was. I'm curious. We're going to have to get more banking people on here, because I wonder if when people go into banking today, the banks do all of that training, or if they're just hiring people from college that have specific skills.
That would be interesting. And I would be curious too, are they able to work their way up? Is it strictly, right. Are they saying, oh, you can only be an officer if you have a degree in finance, if you have, right. I'm not sure how that would.
I don't know, but we'll find out. I'll keep you posted.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be very curious.
Yeah. All right. Well, again, thank you for your time today. I really appreciate you kind of going through your background for us and letting people know what kind of opportunities exist. And I'm Joni with Looking at Careers with Joni. If you like this video, please like it below and subscribe to our channel. I appreciate your time, Jean, and hopefully we'll see you on here again sometime.
Okay, thank you, Joni.
Thanks. Bye-bye.